Yes, chat, I'm actually dropping out, and I'm not kidding. And right now, you probably have two questions, stemmed right, going through your mind, which is, first off, Ethan, what the fuck? Why the fuck are you doing this? Bro, it's real hard to hold my cam. And the second question would be like, okay, how is that going to work? Right? It's after dinner right now, and so I'll just record. This is like the start of the series, I guess, right? And yeah, just explain how things have been going. So back in like P6, I would say, to Sec 1, but my primary school days, I was always a bit of like, I wouldn't say really a nerd, but I was good at studying, kind of like the 80-90 kind, even going to like secondary school. But then something happened, like I got thrown into a pretty dark period. I wouldn't say self-inflicted, but after that period, right, something like a desire rose in me, and that was to basically make money online. And it was a really strong desire. I had lost a lot of trust in the education system and just how things work, right, in Singapore and the world right now. And with that, I had just one goal in mind, which is to make my first $10,000. Fucking hell, my arm is sore already. As like you see, most of the teenagers right now want to. There's this huge goal of like 10k a month. And I remember like Sec 2 October, I tried drop shipping with some dude called Jordan, I think. I completely failed at that, like pretty badly. And at the start of Sec 3, that's when I got into copywriting. Now, copywriting essentially, to put it very simply for you, is the art of persuading someone to take a specific action, right, using words. So, like all the marketing that you see online, right, getting you to buy stuff, the ads and banners everywhere, it's just copywriting. And I got into that, and I worked like the beast, which is why like Sec 3 and Sec 4 my results are fucking shit. But at the time, no one really knew, right, except for a few people. But eventually, yeah, I did get to 10k months, which was awesome. Hold on, lot of cars here. And so going into JC, or like, well, what's it at America, what do they say? Like, it's still high school, but like the last few years of high school, essentially, I had a huge goal for myself, which was to get my business to like 100k months, right, to scale as quickly as possible. And at this time, I also had a mentor, and this guy was pretty crazy. I mean, he dropped out of uni and shit as well. And basically, he was like, bro, Ethan, you just gotta scale, man, just fucking scale. Even if you're in debt, pick the money, scale. And that's it. That's like kind of his advice, summarized into a single word. And so, I was really motivated by that. I was like, fuck it, right? You guys can all suck dick, everyone online can suck dick. And what I'm gonna just do is scale crazily. And so that happened. I didn't care much about fulfillment. I didn't care much about anything else, basically. And basically it's a gradual process, but my business started to suffer bit by bit. Let me just set my shit down here. Started to suffer slowly, and right now it's January 2026, so happy new year, guys. But right now I'm in like, fast forward, I'm at $50,000, about $50,000 worth of debt. And I remember vividly, right, this moment in China. Basically, I went on an immersion trip as part of like the BSP program our school has. So I fucking hate CSE so much, but the immersion trip is like the only reason why I signed up for the program in the first place. And I remember really vividly how I had to wake up at like fucking 3-4 a.m. just to take like calls with people, just to like do work, while my roommate, shout out to you, Ouyang Rei Tao, he was just snoozing there, right? His fellows was just snoring. Anyways, That's kind of the position I'm in right now, right? And at that point in time, I was like, you know, let's just not care about it so much since you can deal with it while you're back at home. But things got really bad fast, man. Like, I remember in September, I think expenses were about 10k, and then October it was like 13k, November basically it got worse and worse. And after the China immersion, when I came back to Singapore, I just really sat down and just took in, you know, everything that was happening. At that time it wasn't that bad yet because I really haven't done my finances, so I didn't really know that it was so bad until I really sat down and looked through everything. I just asked myself, like, what the fuck actually happened, Ethan? Like, what the fuck went wrong? And that was when I knew I really had to get my shit together. And so I started journaling, right? First of all, doing the Wheel of Life shit. Let me just show you proof over here, because I think this is kind of cool. Right here, I remember. You can see this shit right here. Basically, you split the circle into 9 segments, right? 3 segments being your work, relationships, and then health. And then you just kind of rank yourself on a score of 1 to 10. And I'm really ranking low in a lot of areas because I've sacrificed so much for business, essentially. And most people in school right now, if you don't know me, or even if you know me, most of y'all will know me as like a fucking troller. Which I mean, I don't blame y'all, because I do have fun. But this is what I've been doing in my spare time, basically. In my spare time, basically. And it's what I really care about. Which is why often you might think that I put on a very, no, but whatever, who gives a fuck, right? And as I was journaling, I asked myself this question, which is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And it's such a simple fucking question, but immediately, right, something popped into my mind, which was drop out of school. And let me just show you what it looked like over here. Let's see. I blurred out some shit, but fucking hell. But this is gonna be such a bad video because it's like shaking. Drop out of school, if you can see that. And it's a very logical process, right? Because again, fear exists in the specific, not the vague. And so I define the nightmare, the absolute worst that can happen if I did what I was considering, which is dropping out. And let me look at my journal again. What did I write? Is that my parents get extremely upset with me, my dad scolds me, and my mom starts crying, I lose all my friends. After a year, I have no money at all and nothing changes. And because I don't have a degree, I can't get a good job. If I really needed cash to support my family, my relatives judge me with those eyes, thinking I'm fucking stupid, throwing away my future. I get kicked out of the house. People in my class judge me. I don't relate to any of my friends. All of that shit. And I think really the main reason behind wanting to drop out is because I always knew that I wasn't going to uni anyways. At least I made the decision this year. I get the fact that, you know, I still see value in terms of going to a uni, in terms of the connections. On this bench is fuckload of ants, man. Relocate. Okay, and then I asked, like, okay, what's the probability of that happening? Which is all about, I don't know, 50 to 70%, like all of those shit that I mentioned. And on the flip side, what are the outcomes or benefits, both temporary or permanent, of the more probable scenarios? And immediately, I was like so fucking excited because, first of all, not going to school would mean freeing up about, what, 40 plus hours of your time, right? It would mean being much more focused and locked in on what I truly want to do. Let's see. It would mean more energy to do things I want to do, sleep normal times, mental health up, less stress, more joy, more cash. I could do like, my fulfillment capacity will increase so much. I have more time to learn, more time to rest. Basically, not dropping out is emotionally costing me my mental health. Because I know that I'm not willing to quit business anyways, and the ego that tries to catch, both rabbit. The ego that tries to catch both rabbits, like catches none, right? So it's really scary though, I'm not gonna lie. And the main reason we go to school right now, if you go down this line of Socratic questioning, is to take the A levels, right? And the reason you want to take A levels is to get a good grade for the A levels. And the reason why you want to get a good grade is to go to university, of course. And since I'm not going to uni, then why do I need to take the A levels? That's kind of the line of reasoning that I went down. And I think the biggest reason is I know that I'm going to do this business thing, right? And so it's kind of socially acceptable for me to fail at entrepreneurship because I'm still in school, right? And I can use it as a crutch. I think that's been like a recurring thing that has always popped in my mind, which is that even if this fails, I can still use school, or I can just blame it on school. And you read Sun Tzu, there's this one strategy he uses where he forces his troops into like a really fucking rough place so that they'll really fight for their lives from the get-go. And I think when you have a plan B sometimes, when you feel way too safe, you just don't give it 100%. But when you really know that this is your only fucking option, like it's just all or nothing, right? That's sort of an aggression to which you carry out a thing. And following this line of thought, I also thought about what Chris Williamson, which is one of my favorite podcasters, he talks about, if life were a movie and people were watching up to this point, what would the audience watching the movie of your life be screaming through the screens telling you to do? And for me, that would be to do this. To do this thing that I'm really fucking afraid about. Because if I'm going to disappoint my family, I might as well do it right now, right? And there's this poem called I think it's called Go All The Way. I also don't even try. I think it's an amazing poem. Yeah, you can read it if you want to, but basically, like Alex Hormozi said, I'm going to optimize for the most epic journey because people are going to judge me regardless of what I do, right? Like I could just maximize my grades right now and people will call me a nerd. I could do nothing right now and people will call me a troller. I could, go all out into business and people will call me weird. And regardless of what you do, you will be judged anyway. So why not just do what you want, right? At the end of the day, the people are going to die and you're going to die as well. And one of the greatest regrets in life is doing something, living a life that other people expected you to live instead of living life authentically to yourself. I know that when I'm 85 or 90 and laying my deathbed, hopefully surrounded by my children and grandchildren, I won't regret having epic stories to tell, but I sure as hell will regret not having epic stories that I could tell. And so all of that together has kind of sparked this decision. And right now I'm recording this. The reason why I really want to document this because I think it's just such an epic journey, right? Watching me right now as a 17-year-old just going through life and trying to make it online. Because if I look at, looking at all these huge people like Alex Hormozi, Charlie Morgan, what people don't realize is they were once exactly like us. They just decided to take a really painful path, decide to do things that most people would be way too afraid to do. And the universe is just cause and effect, right? So eventually they got what they want because they took a series of actions. And so with this channel, to set some expectations, it is going to be pretty fucking shit. It's just going to be me yapping to the cam. Right now, I notice one of my biggest weaknesses is how I articulate things. So my articulation, the way I put ideas together. So that's something that I definitely want to work on because it's really important, right? Communication. Let me see if there's anything else I want to cover. Yeah, that's kind of it mostly, but this is going to be the start of the channel, and yeah, I'm really excited. School starts in like what, 9 days or something like that. So yeah, see you all there, man. Bye bye.